Could a simple pen hold a dark secret? It's a question that has haunted many people for centuries. You see, it's said that objects can absorb the energy and emotions of those who use them, creating a kind of psychic imprint that can be felt by others. But what if I told you that some objects are more than just imprinted with energy? They're actually cursed. That they can bring about terrible misfortune, even death, to those who possess them. And what if I told you that I have one such object right here in my hands? A pen that's said to be haunted by a malevolent spirit, one that feeds on the fear and terror of those who dare to use it. Join me as I put this haunted pen to the test and find out if the rumors are true. Can I write with it without feeling its creepy curse, or will I become the pen's next victim? As I spent a sunny day at the lake with my family, enjoying a picnic and quality time together, I decided to take a walk into the water to cool off. And that's when my leg stepped on a hard object submerged in the lake. I dove down to investigate and found an old pen buried in the mud with the name Amelia etched into it, and despite feeling a shiver run down my spine, I picked it up and tucked it into my pocket, deciding not to mention it to my family. As I continued with our picnic, I couldn't help but feel a strange connection to the pen, and wonder about the story behind it. And as the day went on, I found myself glancing at the pen again and again, feeling an eerie sense that I had disturbed something that was meant to remain hidden. And now, as I hold the pen in my hand, I am determined to uncover the secrets of the pen and the person who had owned it. Amelia. I started to experience strange occurrences with the pen. I'd find myself writing in my sleep, with no memory of it. The words and images were dark and foreboding, as if the pen was channeling a malevolent energy. I felt a creeping sense of dread when holding the pen, like it was exerting control over me. I'd see shadowy figures and hear whispers at night, seemingly from the pen. It was as if the pen was trying to communicate with me, telling a story hidden in its metal. I discovered the pen once belonged to a reclusive writer named Amelia, who used it to write dark novels. Her life was marked by tragedy and madness, and the pen had been passed down through owners who reported similar strange occurrences. It seemed the pen was cursed, imbued with a dark energy drawing me in. I felt pulled into a world of madness and terror, with the pen as the key to unlocking secrets of the unknown. As I delved deeper into the pen's history, I became increasingly fascinated by the stories and legends surrounding it. I discovered that the pen had once belonged to a reclusive writer named Amelia, who had used it to write a series of dark and twisted novels that had gained a cult following. According to legend, Amelia had made a pact with a mysterious entity to gain inspiration for her writing, but at a terrible cost. The entity, known only as the Muse, was said to have granted Amelia unparalleled creativity and genius, but at the same time, it slowly consumed her sanity and drove her to madness. As I researched further, I found that the pen had been passed down through a series of owners, each of whom had reported similar strange and terrifying experiences. One owner, a young writer named Sarah, had used the pen to write a best-selling novel, but soon found herself plagued by nightmares and visions of dark, twisted creatures. Another owner, a poet named James, had become convinced that the pen was possessed by the spirit of Emilia, and that it was driving him to write twisted and disturbing verse. I also discovered that the pen was not the only object of its kind. There were other haunted objects, like the Dybbuk box, a wooden cabinet that was said to be haunted by a malevolent spirit. The box, which was sold on eBay in 2001, was said to have been responsible for a series of terrifying and unexplained events, including nightmares, visions, and even physical attacks on its owners. Similarly, the pen was said to be haunted by the spirit of Emilia and by the dark energy of the muse. My research suggested that the pen was more than just a simple writing instrument, but a key to unlocking the secrets of the unknown. It was a doorway to a world of madness and terror, a world that was hidden from the rest of us, but was accessible to those who dared to use the pen. I began to wonder if the pen was not just a tool, but a portal to another dimension, a dimension where the laws of reality did not apply, and where the darkest fears and desires of humanity came to life. I found a true story online about a woman named Latoya Ammons, who claimed that her house was haunted by a malevolent spirit. She reported that the spirit would move objects around, make strange noises, and even physically attack her and her family. As I read about her story, I couldn't help but think of the pen and its dark history. Was it possible that the pen was connected to a similar malevolent spirit? One that was driving its owners to madness and terror? I couldn't shake the feeling that I had stumbled upon something truly evil, something that was beyond human comprehension, and as I sat there, holding the pen in my hand, I couldn't help but wonder if I had made a terrible mistake by uncovering its secrets. I stumbled upon a shocking revelation that made my blood run cold. I discovered a series of letters and diaries written by Emilia, the pen's original owner, which revealed a dark and sinister truth. Emilia had been using the pen to write her novels, but she had also been using it to make a pact with a malevolent entity, known only as the Devourer. According to Emilia's writings, the Devourer was a dark and ancient being that fed on the creativity and sanity of its victims, and in return, it granted them unparalleled genius and success. But at a terrible cost. Emilia's writings revealed that she had been slowly driven mad by the Devourer, and that she had been forced to sacrifice her own sanity and soul in exchange for her literary success. And then I found the most shocking evidence of all, a photograph of Emilia taken on the day of her death, with the pen still clutched in her hand. But it was what was written on the back of the photograph that made my heart skip a beat. The devourer comes for us all. Suddenly, I felt a chill run down my spine, and I realized that I was holding the pen. The same pen that had driven Emilia to madness and death. I was frozen in terror, wondering if I had just unleashed a dark and malevolent force into my own life. The pen, which had once seemed like a harmless object, now seemed like a ticking time bomb waiting to unleash its evil power on me. I was trapped in a living nightmare, and I didn't know if I would ever be able to escape. As I held the pen, I knew I had to get rid of it, but I didn't want to play with the entity or the cursed object anymore. I decided to take a different approach. I went to every church in my area, searching for a tombstone with the name Emilia. I had a feeling that this was the key to breaking the curse. As I walked through the cemeteries, I talked to the church management and asked if they knew of anyone named Emilia who was a writer. Finally, after visiting several churches, I found one that had a tombstone with the name Emilia. And to my surprise, she was a writer too. I felt a sense of relief and peace as I stood in front of the tombstone. I took the pen and gently placed it on the stone, feeling a sense of closure and finality. I whispered a prayer, asking for Emilia's spirit to finally rest in peace, and for the curse to be lifted. As I turned to leave, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I knew that I had made the right decision, and that I was finally free from the pen's dark influence. I walked back home, feeling a sense of peace and tranquility that I hadn't felt in weeks. I never looked back, and I never thought about the pen again. Knew that it was where it belonged, and that Emilia's spirit could finally rest in peace. I was grateful to have found a way to break the curse, and I was determined to move on with my life, leaving the darkness of the pen behind. Have you ever had a similar experience with a haunted object? Do you believe that the pen was truly cursed? Or was it just my imagination playing tricks on me? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching this terrifying tale of the haunted pen. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more chilling tales and frightening fiction.